You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Empire Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Empire Girls After Show.
What's up, everybody? We have missed you since last week. Bing is for doing, and today we are doing a recap show of Empire Girls. I am Ashley Gray, and joined with me is my amazing co-host.
Hey, what's up? I'm Bamm Ericsen.
Awesome. And guys, you all know that you can always follow us on AfterBuzzTV.com with your questions. Tweet us and let us know what you guys are thinking. And you can also call in and we can hear you live on air. And you can call us at 424-256-1729. So let's talk about Julissa. She had to create this demo reel for, you know, this amazing position that she wanted to get for the Billboard Awards.
Yeah, so
Latino.
Right. So her manager said that she needed to have a video of her with a very high-profile Latino celebrity.
Yeah.
And so she was she went into to work mode to make it happen because she only had a short amount of time.
She did. And
Yeah.
this episode was so, I like pretty much laughed throughout this whole entire episode. It was so good. Julissa, you know, her little stressing out, freaking out moments. It was just hilarious. And
she's also impatient, if you kind of notice. When things doesn't quite go away, her manager, you know, gave her this opportunity, and she was not happy the fact that her manager told her at the last minute.
At the last minute.
She doesn't like being told at the last minute, which, I mean,
in this business, sometimes you know, things happen at the last minute, but
Yeah.
that one thing that could happen, you know, that could be it for you. Just like in this circumstance, she landed it, and she actually got a better position than the original presentation. So, I mean.
Right. And then also when they went after Victor Cruz, who is a New York Giants football player, he was set to do the interview, and then at the very last minute, minutes before the crew was supposed to arrive at Julissa's apartment, he was unable to come, and she just had this major attitude. And Layla and Ashley told her, look, get it together, work through it, and stop complaining, basically. And so she finally got over it.
She did. And as a human being, like, I probably would have been a little grumpy too. I can't even lie. I would have been like, seriously, bro? Seriously? You're really going to pull out at the last minute? So, I mean, and I know that her she just had high hopes, and she thought that, you know, it's going to be amazing. It's the celebrity, Latino, you know, whatever. And, yeah, I would have been upset, kind of.
I wouldn't have been upset. I would have just tried to get someone else, or I would have just kept moving. You know, they had a good idea, but I mean, why couldn't she do Adrienne?
Yeah, that's true.
So I just always think, especially at her caliber of celebrity, I would just call someone else.
Yeah.
You know, rather than complain, because I would be looking more so at my opportunity. You said you want to host, you want to be the next new Oprah. You know, Oprah has obstacles thrown at her all the time.
Yeah, true.
So I just think that, you know, but luckily her friends was there to tell her, you know, stop complaining. And then so once Victor was not able to make the interview, they said, well, why don't you go to the streets of New York, and why don't you go to the everyday Latin people and just talk to them and see what they are, being at the network is for Moon 2. And so they did that, and I thought she did a fantastic job. She took all the notes from Angie Martinez about not talking like this, you know, and she was just very calm, and she was very relatable to the people, and she was asking questions that was relevant to what the viewers and the culture would like to see on Moon too.
And yeah, I really loved how her whole demeanor in the video, she was very relatable, very personable, and it really showed on camera. It wasn't too showy, like what Adrienne said.
Right, even her wardrobe was very appropriate. You know, she wasn't overly made up. She wasn't in, she was just in nice regular clothes. But I really liked when she talked to the 82-year-old Latina woman.
She was fly.
Yeah, she was.
She was fly.
Looked like she had just came from church, right? Her nice, what kind of blue is that? Is that royal blue?
I don't know. It was that sexy blue. That's what it was.
Mama was sharp.
She was.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, girl. She had it. She had it going on.
I agree.
But I really, really loved it. And Angie Martinez gave her some really great advice. Julissa took that advice and she killed it. And, that was amazing. And another thing that I really loved about this episode is that she worked on her reel herself. And so that gives inspiration to other people out there who want to host and do stuff like that. Like, you can't always get these professionals to come out and do your reel for you. And so what she did was she went online and posted something for, NYC, anyone in the film industry, who aspires to be in the film industry to come out and, record. So
what I thought was really interesting is when Layla and Ashley was assisting her, you can tell she's maybe not used to doing things on her own, because when they asked her about posting, she was like, well, what bulletin are you going to post it on?
I don't have a printer.
So has she never, well, maybe not, but here in LA, when we need something, we just kind of post an ad on Craigslist or something, or iTunes or Amazon, hint, and do some listings and go from there. But yes, you can tell she hasn't really done a lot of a lot of work. So kind of comes off as airhead a little bit.
A little bit. But speaking of Amazon, for all of our listeners and our viewers, before you go and shop on Amazon.com, be sure to go to AfterBuzzTV.com, and there you will find an Amazon banner. Just click on that, and you can shop. Shop for anything that you want. It's no charge to you at all. It just helps us out because we do supply this content completely for free. So Amazon, they kick back a little bit to AfterBuzz. So you guys will be helping us out a lot. So check that out. Check it out. Check it out. So let's get back to Julissa and her being a little bit of an airhead. I think it's cute, but, when does it become not so cute? When it's repetitive. Some things are cute, but...
Well, as I said a couple of episodes ago, Julissa personality originally was very different than it is now.
What do you mean different?
She was kind of like the quiet, very...
AKA boring.
Yeah. I guess in some aspects, some people may think of as boring, but she was very quiet.
Yeah.
She didn't really have a lot to say. We didn't really see her personality.
Yeah.
Now we see her personality, and she's very, when things does not go her way, she just does not like it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how this continues. But, the outcome of this, of her storyline was that she did the reel, and so then she was with Flavio Morales, is the programming of Muntu, and so he absolutely loved the video so much and how personable she was with the everyday people, of the viewers that watch the show. And so they offered her not only to do the red carpet, they gave her a bigger position, which is the co-host of Billboard Access show. And so she'll be doing that throughout the week because the Latin Billboard Awards is huge. And so it's in Miami. And so because she took the advice of Layla and said, hey, keep working, get over it, make this happen. She was able to put aside everything. And because of that, she was able to reap great benefits. So
she did.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Good job, girl. We was rooting for you all along. We was. So speaking of these great opportunities, Adrienne, our homegirl here at AfterBuzzTV.com, and just, period, that's my homegirl. But she was offered a role, and it happened to be a lesbian role, and so she was really nervous about this role. Would you play a role of a homosexual on film, screen, whatever? Would you do that?
Yeah.
You would? Okay, well then you and Adrienne.
I would, because for minority actors, I don't want to continue to keep playing the thug.
Oh yeah.
the homeboy.
Yeah.
So if I want to show them that I could go outside being the thug or the homeboy, I need to do as many parts as possible so I don't limit myself. You know, a couple years ago I'd have been like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But now you have to be able to prove to yourself that you are outside of the stereotype of what they see us on.
Yeah, and that's
so
something.
I would absolutely do it.
That's something that Adrienne was talking about. You know, if she wants to be this actress that people take seriously, then she's going to have to play these adult roles that deal with real life situations.
Yeah.
So, you know, when she went home, she had to go home and tell her parents. And she mentioned that her parents were very conservative Christian individuals. So she was nervous about going to tell her parents.
Very nervous. And on the way there, they were eating churches. No, they were eating Popeye's chicken.
They went to go get some chicken.
Yeah.
That's what Julissa calls chicken. So they went to go, after going to get some chicken, they went home to Adrienne's parents' house and to tell them. And they turned out, I was nervous at first because, you know.
Right, because her mom, Nilda, when she told her about it, her mom was like, okay.
Yeah.
And she was just like looking and looking and looking. And you know that
mom look.
That mom look, and you know that mom look where they just kind of sit and kind of just give you the look.
She replied with, "How do you feel about this?" And I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, and she said as long as it's classy and as long as the film company and the crew was credible, then they're totally in support of it.
Yeah. And so I think that that's really, really, you know, it's amazing when you have people that back you and support you no matter what, especially because Adrienne is trying to kind of get out of this cheetah girl image. She needs to play some of those roles that are, you know, so far from who she truly is. As possible. And I know that she mentioned that as well. So, I mean, kudos to her. She did not get the audition. I mean, she got the audition, of course, but she didn't get the role. But let's talk about the audition when she went there.
Well, yeah, so when she went to the audition and she was with the director and her, the lady who was running lines with her,
No. I forgot
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Lindsay Asher was the actress she was paired with, and then Alexander was the director. And so the Lindsay girl seemed like
she was on it. She first of all, she was licking her lips before, like Adrienne walked over to sit down and she was like licking her lips. I was like, dang, girl.
She looked like she was sobbing every moment of being on camera for the reality show. She looked like she was just like, okay, I got 5 minutes.
I'm about to work it.
Yeah.
Work. W-E-R-K. Lil Mama, I got that from you. That's me and Lil Mama's thing.
Work.
You better work. And she was working and she was licking them lips like, yeah, girl, I'm about to get all up in this. I was like, dang, back up.
But I did find that it was odd that they wanted them to do the kissing scene.
Yeah.
For the audition. I mean, I understand that it's an independent film, but it did seem a little strange that they wanted to do that. And then did you see how the crew, right before the kissing scene, they were all looking.
They like braced for it, like.
They were all braced like,
wait
you know.
Wait for it. Go.
It seemed like the kissing scene was the most important part of the audition. Maybe they wanted to make sure that it was authentic.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I think that I don't really know the whole synopsis of the production, but you know, they probably want to see if there's a connection at all. Like if you feel comfortable doing this because this is the basis for, you know, the entire production. So, you know, I get that they made a big deal about the kiss, but some of the facial expressions, I was like, dude in the middle with the red shirt on, he was, I was seriously laughing throughout the whole thing. I'm like, this seriously creeper. He looked like a creeper.
What did you think of Adrienne's audition?
I think actually, you know, I think that she was really great. I really haven't seen her in a long time perform, like act. So I was like, wow, wow, she's a good actress.
Yeah, the last thing I saw was Coach Carter, which she kind of played the homegirl.
Yeah, and we all get them homegirl roles.
Right, but I think she did a fantastic job. And what I did like the fact that you can tell how serious she was is when she came to the audition, she wore hardly any makeup. She wore hardly any makeup, and you could just feel the emotions. I thought it was a damn good audition.
She did really good. Kudos to you, Adrienne. You did amazing. Really good.
And you know what else is interesting? For the past couple of days, I have been looking up 3LW videos. And it's so funny because when she wears no makeup, I mean, she really has not aged since she first came out with 3LW. And so when you look at the videos, she looks exactly the same. And then especially when she was at the audition and she didn't have on any makeup.
Yeah.
She looks just like she did when she was with 3LW.
And I think that's like, especially for girls who, you know, they may be older, but they just naturally look younger. I think that that's their, you know, motive to apply, you know, makeup. Because you're 25, but you look like you're 13 or 15. You know, like realistically, you can go for like 17 or something like that.
She still looks, she looks very young. And so in addition to music and 3LW, you guys can also go to iTunes where you guys could go and check us out. We have a podcast and you can go and please rate and comment. But what's really important about this is we're here weekly and we do this for free for the sake because we're fans of TV of the shows just like you guys are. So it's really important that you guys can go to iTunes and just download it. It's for free. Free. Who does not like free stuff?
That's the magic word. F-R-E-E.
Exactly. You can download it for free. Download it for free, and you guys can listen to it in your cars and you're on your way to work or coming home from school. And so please download it. Please download and rate us and comment because it really helps us. And then in addition to the iTunes where you guys can rate and comment, you guys, there's also a new app called Podcast where if you download this application, all of the subscriptions that you have on iTunes, it organizes it. So from AFTERBUZZ, Empire Girls, or Fallen Skies, or The Glass House, it organizes all of your subscriptions that you have, and it puts it and it makes it all together. So iTunes rating, comment, and you guys have podcasts. So please do us this favor. All right?
Yes, do it. Do it, guys. We will love you forever and ever and ever. But speaking of the lesbian role, I did not know that Julissa played a lesbian in Sarah with no H, S-A-R-A. And of course, you can go and Bing that and look it up so you can, you know, see the footage. But I had no idea. Like when they were discussing it, Adrienne was like, well, would you guys ever play a lesbian role? And Julissa was like, I have. And everyone was like, what?
I didn't know she acted, but you know.
Yeah.
But it was a short film, so.
So everybody should go check that out.
Yeah.
But that was crazy. I don't know. Like with me,
You're saying that you would never
I don't
portray.
know. Like I don't know. That's something like I would be in the same boat as Adrienne in this episode. Like I would be really nervous. I would be like clinging on to my friends. Like, what should I do? What should I do? I would go to my family and say, you know, make sure I get their approval. So
But if you're acting, it does not say that is the way that you're pretending to be someone else. Why would you need to? Why do you need to get your family's permission to portray a character, a role? I don't understand that. Why?
Well, I think that, a lot, just like Adrienne's mother said, are you comfortable doing it? I think first and foremost, a lot has to do with if you're comfortable, you know, and I don't know if I would be comfortable doing that. Another reason I would go to my family is because I want that support, you know, and I think that if you come from a family where you're used to always getting that support in every aspect of your life, this is just something else where you want to go and you want to share that with them. So it's like, all right, give me your feedback. Hit me with it. What should I do? I mean, it's just like, okay, would I star in like a porn? No. Of course not.
But I think that's totally different.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think that's different. Just like, so would you get permission, or do you think Adrienne would get permission to play a crackhead, or to play a prostitute, or to play a junkie?
No, I don't think so. I just think that because her parents are very conservative Christian, she really wanted that, you know, their blessing to say.
I get it. I just don't particularly
get
agree.
it.
That's all.
Bamm's like, I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's just it, right?
Pretty much. I mean, if I'm doing an interview with somebody, if I won't have restrictions on who I would like to interview. I wouldn't put restrictions if we want Adrienne to come on, Adrienne, Julissa, anyone. I don't put restrictions, so that's just me.
Okay. Yeah. I guess, Bamm. Whatever you say. No, but I mean, Adrienne really, she went out there and she aspires to be an actress and, entrepreneur and so many things. And she's really going out there and she's hustling to get what she wants.
And every week we're starting to see every aspect of what she aspires to be. Music, acting, and entrepreneurship.
The only thing, homegirl.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, okay. I think, yeah. Sorry. I don't know. The only thing homegirl still slipping on a little bit.
Here we go.
Is the style. Come on. At the end, okay, so at the end of this episode, when they were all there to watch, Julissa's reel. So it was Angie Martinez, Layla, her husband, and Adrienne. Did you see those tinfoil pants she had on?
I don't particularly pay attention to every aspect of her fashion.
They were so bright. How could you not? They look like tinfoil, like someone wrapped her legs in tinfoil. I
personally was annoyed by Layla's husband, Steve. That's who I was annoyed by. So maybe his whole demeanor and just the way he acted this week, I was annoyed by him. So maybe I couldn't focus on Adrienne's outfit, which now let's please get to Layla.
Okay, well, how about we're going to cut to commercial, and then we'll come back and we'll talk all about Miss Layla.
Miss Layla
and her trying to choose between family and her career. So that's...
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AFTERBUZZ TV. And why? Because AFTERBUZZ TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows, like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AFTERBUZZ TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AFTERBUZZ TV goodness. Check them out. Give them a holler. And tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
Shout out to Woolly Bear. We love him. We love hearing his voice every week.
Love the commercial.
All right, so let's talk about Layla. Layla. So... she actually had a huge part in the show this week. We haven't really seen her much in this season of Empire Girls, but this week in this episode, she was very prominent. So it started off in where did she come in? Where was she?
So she was in LA and she was with her mom and she was on her way to New York. And so she had a conversation before she left for New York. She had a meeting with her manager, and her manager said that LA is really the place, and how there's not a lot of potential for her in New York, and so she really needs to try to focus and do LA. And she was like, well, Julissa's in New York and Julissa's getting work. Well, I didn't agree with that. Julissa's not really getting work, but she basically was like, well, Julissa's doing it in New York, why can't I?
Yeah.
And her manager was like, well, LA's a place to be, and and maybe with the connections that her manager has, he just has more opportunity for her, and she's done a lot of work here in LA, which we're familiar with who she is. So there's a lot of work for her in LA, and so now she goes to New York to visit her husband and take her daughter down there, and then bam, we go into what happened once they got to the house.
Yeah, and her main battle was.
Well, do you want to say what happened? So when she gets to the house.
Yeah, because I want to point out that her main battle is career versus family. So one thing that I really noticed when she first was introduced into this episode, she went home, and when she was going to see her daughter really didn't jump up and say, like, Mommy. So it was kind of like her daughter was very used to being with the nanny and, bonded more with the nanny than with her. I know that when, I'm not a mother, but when I am with my friends or my sisters and they enter a house, their kids are excited to see them, even if they've only been away for an hour or 2 hours. They don't just sit there and be like, hi.
Well,
you know,
in defense, because it is TV and it's a camera and there's lights, you don't know how many times they may have had to do that scene. It's a baby.
Yeah, true.
And so babies get really annoyed and agitated, which is a lot of times why they have twins. So you just never know. The baby could have been sick or for any reason why the baby didn't jump up to say, "Mommy, Mom," you know?
Yeah, but it really struck me because, you know, she's really, really into her career, and she doesn't know what, you know, I'm failing, you know, as a mom, I'm failing as a wife, and I'm failing in my business. And it's like when she said she's failing as a mom, you know, that kind of, I put two and two together. Maybe she isn't in her daughter's life as much as she would want to be in her daughter's life. And I know a lot of business women or single parents who have to, you know, leave their kid with the nanny for long periods of time. They do have more of a bond with the nanny than they do with their, you know, biological mom. So, I mean, I was like, wow, maybe she doesn't spend a lot of time with her, you know, with her daughter. But, you know, you never know. It could always be like what you said. So that's always an option. But when they went back to New York, they got into her and her husband, actually, I mean...
Mr. Stephen Covino, yeah.
They got into an argument in front of Julissa and Adrienne.
And I thought that was so inappropriate that you just don't have that conversation. And then just the way that he was speaking to her, you know, Julissa asked, you know, she wanted to get some jobs or try to get some jobs in New York. And so... Stephen was like, yeah, you need to tell into speaking to Julissa, yeah, you need to talk some sense into her. And that was like red flag. Like, who does that?
Yeah, but it's like when you have this when you have this argument over and over and over and over and over again, like I kind of feel where he's coming from. I feel where both of them are coming from, because, you know, you're just trying to shake this into someone's head, like, this is where you need to be. This is your family.
But why? But it's not fair. And this this is really interesting that you and I both are speaking on the opposite sides. Why is it that the guy always wants the woman to just drop everything? You know, when they were having the discussion, he was supposed to be in Los Angeles.
True.
And then he got a job in New York. And so now because he has a job in New York, he wants her to basically just drop what she's doing. And so they obviously had a plan, and they spoke about this before they got married. Things changed when he got the job in New York. It's more convenient for him. His family's in New York. So now that he's in New York, now he wants her to stop doing what she's doing. And I think that's unfair. We men, we like for women to drop what you're doing and come take care of us and be the family. I think it's wrong. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's wrong in certain aspects, but you have to, you know, come to some type of agreement, especially when there's a child involved.
Yes, but he's not making the compromise. She's making the compromise. And because now she chose to give New York a try a little bit more into trying to do it, now he's happy because he got his way.
Yeah.
But before he was like, your manager is in your head. Your manager, you're listening to your manager.
I'm the man in your life.
I'm the man in your life. And so now he's trying to make it personal.
Yeah.
And what we men do is we like to get into the head.
Manipulate.
And he manipulated her, and he got into the head. And that's his wife. I think he was wrong.
You know, I am on the fence with this one because there is a child involved. And the only reason why I'm on the fence with this is because, you know, he does have family in New York. He is very, like, his job is secure in New York. He has a steady income. They have a house over there.
They have a house in LA too.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's because of Layla. Layla doesn't have any ties to LA necessarily. So it's like, have you given New York a real chance?
But they have a house in Los Angeles where he can be in LA as well.
But my point is that Layla did not give New York a fair chance. The reason why she didn't give New York a fair chance is because she was being stubborn. She is a West Coast kind of girl. She does not like New York. Like with me, if I was in that circumstance, I would be just as stubborn as her. No, I want to be on the West Coast. This is my dream. I'm not happy, you know, living your dream. I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm more than just a wife and I'm more than just a mom. I understand that, but if my husband had a steady job in New York, we had family in New York for our daughter, and our daughter wasn't really getting that family experience because, you know, our family is bi-coastal. I would uproot myself and try to flourish in my career in New York. Now, if I did not make it in New York, I would give it a couple of years or maybe one. I'm very stubborn. Then I would say, okay, we got to figure something out. I gave up something for you. Now you need to come to the West Coast. But she did not give New York a chance yet, and she admitted that in the show. So that's why I'm on the fence. No, it's not cool for him to manipulate her, because I heard her say, you know, when we were dating, you told me that you would come to the West Coast. I heard her say that. You know, you can't trust boys. You can't trust men. You know, but there's a child involved. You need to try and work it out in New York. You just have to. It's not fair for the little girl. And just like with, first of all,
I just think it sucks that the woman, she as a woman, has to give in and allow him to get his way. She has work in LA. Yes, she may not have a steady job where she's working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, but she has constant work. I can name a whole lot of other people whose work is a whole lot inconsistent. She works pretty darn. She works a lot in Los Angeles. So
she works a lot, but if there was not a kid involved, then I would be like, okay, well, maybe I would, you know, be mostly on the West Coast. But I'm thinking about the little girl. Like, she's away from her grandparents. She's away from her dad. And even though they are bi-coastal, it would just be a lot better if Layla was in New York full time. And let me go back to what Adrienne said when she was like, you know, if I had the opportunity to have a family tomorrow, I would take it. No, she wouldn't. What do you think? If she had the opportunity to have a family tomorrow, would she choose her career or her family?
She was in the moment.
Exactly. That's why I had to put on my little seat.
Yeah, I think she was in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because she would not.
But yeah, we'll continue to agree to disagree on this.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and you know, the situation is what it is. Now what you have to do is make the best out of this mess. So, and that's what I think. Kudos to her. She stepped up.
Yeah, kudos for her for being the real man and making the.
You hate him.
I think he's. I'm sorry, that's just wrong. But and again to prove my point. When they were watching the Julissa's real video,
yeah,
and they was like, so what's up? You know, Julissa wanted to change the topic, and then so Layla said, you know, I'm gonna give the whole New York thing a try full time, and she was like forever, and Layla was like not forever, forever, and then of course he was like no forever. Like I'm a man. I know our intentions. His intentions are to get her to come to New York, and so it could be about him, and so that she can take care of the family in New York. I'm a man. I know what his intentions are.
So what do you think she should have done then?
I haven't thought that far.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, well, what do you do when you're in that situation?
I just think that she needs to continue to fight and make him see her side, and they need to come up with a better compromise rather than her doing completely.
But what's a better compromise, though?
That's something that they would have to discuss. But what does he do? What's his job?
He is, I believe, he's an on-air host for Sirius FM. So that's what he does. Okay,
so does he work 7 days a week?
I mean, from what I know of, it's a very consistent job, and he's very prominent in the radio industry. So she's doing very well for himself. And they actually met when she was a guest on his show.
And so, can he travel? Can he go to New York or anything? I mean, can he go to LA? It just seems like she's making more of the commitment to try to make it work more so than him. And so all I'm saying is that I think that he also needs to be more understanding and be willing to compromise and not just make her do make all the decisions that favor him. Well, it should be both.
I think that he's looking at it like, okay, I have a steady job. You don't. So how about you come to New York and look for one?
But he knew that when he got with her, so, you know.
I mean, but that's it seems like that's the theme of Empire Girls this season. It's career or family. And it's honestly, it's hard. Even with us, like, you know, you got to hustle and you got to grind. Is there even time for a relationship? Is there time? I cannot even imagine being married and trying to, you know, do this and, you know, freaking be a wife or a mom. It's very hard. I think, can people do it? Of course I think they can do it, but it's hard. And you have to make really hard sacrifices and compromises. And, you know, in this episode, I really, you know, admired and respected Layla for, you know, saying, you know, I'll come to New York and I'll give it a try.
Right.
So that's why I'm on the fence, because, you know, could you be in a relationship right now? Oh, well, are you in a relationship, Bamm?
There you go.
Crickets. Are you in a relationship, Bamm?
No.
Okay, so you couldn't answer my question then. But if you were in a relationship, how would you balance the two? No, like a serious relationship with someone out of state. So they were like living in Idaho and you're in LA and they want to like eventually get married. How can you? It's just hard to do.
The situation is, the scenario was a bit like kind of like all over, but I mean, could I make it work? I would try my best to make it work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't really answer. I can't really answer the question because you're like, oh, could you be in a relationship and somewhere on the? It's
no. Listen, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I gave you that scenario because that's actually my scenario, or it was my scenario. So I was trying not to say Ohio because I didn't want you to like put two and two together. But no, like when I moved out here, I did have a relationship, and like we were trying to do the long distance thing for a really long time, and was in Ohio and I was in California. And he's like, no, you need to move back to Ohio. We can get married. And I'm like, but that's not my dream. Like, I want to be, you know, in LA, but he's not a city guy at all. He's like a farmer. So, yeah.
And so you weren't willing to make it work.
I can't see myself living on farmland. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So that's why I was like, Layla, big ups to you, because that wouldn't have been me. I probably would have been like, but if there was a kid involved, I would have like uprooted myself and moved back. But yeah, girl, I couldn't do it. So that's why I was like, Idaho. I wanted some male perspective, and you shot me down. You shot me down.
I'm sorry.
But yeah,
you know.
So that's why I love Empire Girls, because it's like them too. They're battling career versus family, and me too. I think we all are. So
yeah, thank goodness that they don't have. Thank goodness they don't have kids.
Yeah.
So, but let's go to news.
News. So what news do we have?
TV news.
We don't have any news, but we have predictions.
And now,
oh my gosh, I swear you are so funny, bro. All right, so I have one. I don't know. I want to know what your prediction is. Who is this mysterious man that Adrienne was in the studio with, you know, on tonight's episode, but it's for next week? Who was it?
I'm going to predict he is a football player.
A football player?
He's a football player because she likes athletes. And so I'm assuming he's a football player. If he's not a football player, just an athlete.
But he was talking about having a surprise performance at Rush.
Well, no, the surprise performance. Okay, so for just really quick, the clip that we saw is they're going to Miami for the Latin Billboard Awards. So Julissa, they're having fun. They're going to parties and clubs, and then so she meets a guy, and we see them go into the room, and the guy's shirtless. And then for Adrienne, some producer guy that we couldn't figure out who he was.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, who is it?
Is saying, well, why don't you do a surprise club performance at Club Rush? And so she's kind of panicking because she doesn't know if she can get it together.
I don't know if she's going to be doing a surprise performance or if there's going to be a surprise performance, because it kind of showed her in the audience like looking a little confused and like trying to get somewhere. So I don't know if it's going to be her actually performing or if it's another artist performing. So I'm trying to figure out who that is. So.
Well, we will find out, but I predict it will be Adrienne performing.
Adrienne?
Yeah.
I don't have a prediction. I don't know who it's gonna be me. I spilled it. I'm just playing. It's not gonna be me.
Oh, that's right, because you're a singer. La 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 la.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today, and as always, it was amazing discussing this with Bamm. You can follow me on Twitter at TweetNinaMarie. That's TweetNinaMarie.
And you can follow me, Bamm Ericsen, on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will talk to you later.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.